Let's start chapter number 2, honorable contracts. Did you spot the security hole in the previous chapter? Excuse me. Set kitty contract address is external, so anyone can call it, right? That means anyone who calls the function could change the address of the CryptoKitties contract and break our app for for all its users. Okay, so that's a security concern, big security concern. We do want the ability to update this address in our contract, but we don't want everyone to be able to update it. To handle the cases like this, one common practice that has emerged into make contracts ownable, meanings they have an owner you who has special privileges. Open Zeppelin open ownable contract. Below is the ownable contract taken from the Open Zeppelin Solidity library. Open Zeppelin is a library of secure or and community vetted smart contracts that you can use in your own DApps. After this lesson, we highly recommend you to check out their site to further your learning. Give the contract below a read uh, through. You're going to see a few things we haven't learned yet, but don't worry, we'll talk about them afterwards. So that's the Open Zeppelin website. There it is. You can learn about different contracts they offer. You can learn more about it from here. So let's see the contract. So this is ownable contract. The ownable contract has an owner address and provides basic authorization function. It simplifies implementation of user permission. So here it is. The event we have variable private one underscore owner constructor. When this contract deployed, the owner is set to message or sender the one wallet that is deploying this smart contract. We have marked this function as internal, so it can only be called from inside or from inherited class, inherited contract. Emit ownership transfer. We have fired this event here, this one. The function is in the address of the owner. Modifier throw if called by any account other than owner. So this is the modifier function. Then we have true if message sender is the owner of the contract. Is owner function allow current owner to relinquish control of the contract. Uh, Renouncing the ownership will leave the contract without an owner. It will be possible to call the function with the only ownership modifier. It will not be possible to call the function with the only modifier anymore. Okay, so it is basically removing the ownership of this contract. Uh, when we call this function, we will going to remove the ownership of this contract. So this owner will not able to call any function anymore. Allows the current owner to transfer control of the contract to a owner. New owner, the address or transfer to ownership. Transfer ownership is a function if we want to transfer ownership of the smart contract to anyone. We can call this function by passing the new owner address in it. Transfer control of the contract to a new owner, the address to transfer ownership to. Control uh, transfer ownership. Here we are checking and calling the ownership transfer function. Oh, sorry, we are just uh, uh, calling Basically it's just an internal function and it's a public function. So from this function we are calling, anyone can call this function but not this one. So from inside this function we are calling this function. That's all. That's for transferring the ownership. Okay. A few things here we haven't seen before. Constructor construction, which is an optional special function that has the same name as the contract. It will get executed only one time when the contract is first created. Here it is. It will call only one time when the contract is deployed. Function modify only owner modifiers are kind of half functions that are used to modify other functions, usually to check someone requirements prior to execution. In this case, only owner can use to limit access so that only owner of the contract can, sorry, excuse me, only owner of the contract can run this function. We're talking more about function modifier in the next chapter, and what that weird uh, underscore semicolon does. So this is the modifier. It's basically means we can just group some conditions in it and call it like that. This is a modifier that we have created, and here we have just call it here, and we're calling it. So it means that it will first check this condition. If you first call this function, then check the condition, and this syntax means there's it will going to execute the other lines after other lines of the function, the main function. If this is the other next line of this function, it will call this line. So this is basically a way of checking some conditions in function and group all the condition. Rather than, we can also write it by copy this line and paste it here and check the condition here, but we have to repeat this line in every function where we want this condition, rather than we just create a modifier and use them in all the functions. So that's the basic concept of modifier. As it says that it will in this lesson it will going to uh, they will going to elaborate it more, so we will see that there. Index keyword, don't worry about this one, we don't need it yet. Okay, let's move on. So the honorable contract basically does the following. When a contract is created, its constructor set the owner to message sender, the person who deploy it. Here it is. Okay, so it's basically set the owner of this particular smart contract. It adds only on a modifier which can restrict access to certain function to only the owner, as I have just defined it. It allows you to transfer the contract to a new owner. Excuse me. Here it is. This functions. Only owner is such a common requirement for contract that most Solidity DApps start with a copy paste of ownable contract, and then their first contract inherits from it. Since we want to limit set kitty contract to only owner, we are going to do the same for our contract. We have gone ahead and copied the code of honorable contract into a new file, honorable.sol. Let's go ahead and make zombie factory inherit from it. Okay, let's honorable. Here it is. Just copy the name and paste it. Import it. As we know, we have to import it first on .sol. Here it is. It should be this. Right. Here it is. We have imported it. That's the correct syntax. So now let's see. Modify zombie factory contract to inherit enable again, and you can take a look at zombiefeeding.sol if you don't remember how it's done. Okay, so we have import the file in double quotation, and then we have inherit it here with the is keyword. So I think that's it from chapter number 2. Yes, let's check the answer. Yes, it is correct. So we have completed chapter number 2. Now let's move on to chapter